beautiful listeners, to the Divine Play podcast, a practical guide to living with joy. My name is Marilena Lee, and I'm here with the infamous
Get it more thin.
I was thinking I needed to give you a more, beautiful is exciting, but I was like, we should change this up today. And infamous, like you're like Bonnie and Clyde over there.
I mean, I'll take it. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm open to infamous.
The infamous.
I love it.
Yeah. I know I couldn't think of another word, so infamous was the one that came out. Guys, Shannon is not robbing banks, just so you know.
No.
Yeah. She is infamously beautiful, though. Infamously smart. Infamously clever.
What are we going to talk about today?
Today, let me give you a little backstory. So my name is Marilena Lee, and I am really good at treating myself sometimes, but I'm also really good at cheaping out on myself for long periods of time. And I don't think it's a problem because we go through different phases, right? It's like that universal law of cycles and rhythm, right? Like everything ebbs and flows. And I found myself in a period for like the last 3 or 4 years of kind of cheaping out on myself, like not letting myself get the good stuff, right? Like when it comes to my clothes, right? Like I have not been really giving myself permission to like buy the good shit, which I used to do all the time. And I'd really focus on timeless pieces and really good tailoring, quality pieces. And then like the last few years, I've really been in discount stores and things like that, which is not a problem. There's a benefit to that for me, but it's kind of gotten stale. And like my skincare, like I used to really treat myself to good skincare. Skin's our biggest organ. This is not just vanity. But like taking care of your skin is kind of an act of self-love. And I've been cheaping out on my skincare. Like I'm talking like, trying to find $8 to $10, face wash or whatever. And there's once again, there's nothing wrong with that if that works for you. And it did for me for a couple years. But what I'm finding now is that I want to give myself the good shit. I want to treat myself. And this came up for me because I recently have really been struggling with my skin. Just like my skin texture has changed and it's been really dry and scaly, and I don't really feel good in my skin, and I haven't felt really beautiful. And I recently just kind of like got cornered by a saleswoman in Ulta the other day. And damn, she was good.
God bless that
I know,
saleswoman.
right? Bless it. Like she was so good at her job. And she told me about her experience with the skincare line that she, of course, works for. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to drop some F-bombs. Like today, just brace yourselves out there at home. But like,
get the good stuff, and I'm gonna drop some F-bombs.
I'm gonna drop some F-bombs.
Both and
I was literally in my mind, I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm gonna buy these sample kits. And it was a couple $100, which for me is a big investment right now while I'm in operation debt free, trying to pay off all my education. And like, I am buying myself the good shit, and we're gonna see what happens. And so I've spent the last 4 days going, oh shit, I love it. Oh my God, I love the skincare.
Feels
Damn it. I didn't love it because it's expensive. But like also just like it's really luxurious. It's like really high quality. It's oils that are really beautiful for my skin. It's a retinoid that's helping exfoliate it. So like my skin feels smooth for the first time in like 4 years. And as somebody who really struggled with self-image and body dysmorphia and really severe acne most of my life, this really truly is like an act of self-love for me to give myself the good shit. And so, I know that was a lot of backstory, but I'm a storyteller. It's what I do. And I'm really curious how many of you out there listening run into this. Like, how many of you are denying yourself the good stuff?
Mhm.
Like you'll go out and you'll spend $150 on shoes for your kids, and you're
Yep.
like the $25 special at Marshall's, which sometimes we find great deals there, but like sometimes it's not what you're looking for.
Mhm.
How many of you will go out and buy a $200 wedding gift for people, but you won't let yourself get the, Vitamix immersion blender that you've wanted for 3 or 4 years because it's just too expensive. And I want to talk a little bit about what's behind that. Like, why have I been denying myself the good stuff for the past 3 or 4 years? And some of it is just frugality because that's real. And
Yep.
some of it is, I think, rooted in other things, deeper unconscious
Absolutely it is.
about my
I
work.
believe it is.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, I love this conversation, Miralina, because it is so true. I have actually almost a year ago sat down and had this same conversation with a woman because I was like, oh my gosh, that is an amazing. I don't remember what it was in the office of where I was working or whatever, where I was at in the community. And she's like, oh, it's for a wedding gift. She's like, oh no, it's not for me. It's a wedding gift. I would never spend that much on me. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, do you like it? And she's like, yeah, of course. I like it because I bought it for so and so for a wedding gift. I think it's freaking cool. And I was like, so why don't you buy two? Why didn't you get one for yourself if you love it so much? And she's like, oh, I don't need that. It's fine. And it's so interesting. I think we do that a lot. I think it is absolutely okay. I think we can get really great deals on sales recs. I think it also gives us this different feeling to walk into a store, not even worrying about the price tag, and find something you absolutely love that looks good on you, feels good on you, makes you feel like a goddess, makes your skin feel like a goddess or a queen, and just be like, it's okay. I am worth it. I am going to treat myself absolutely. But what if that's the way you showed up for yourself, where that would be a different feeling. And it's so interesting that we're talking about this because I just finished reading the book Pocket Full of Money. Have you ever read that book?
No, tell me more.
Oh. It is amazing. It is such a deep understanding and a deep thing, that like journal prompts everywhere, like conversation prompts everywhere. But it's like, I love money, money loves me. It's continuous,
Oh,
everything is energy.
mhm.
But like, I feel like we have talked about this before, and it is like self-care. And we just talked about money the other day. But what if everything that we've ever thought that we wanted is already available out there? We just get to look for it and act like we already have it. So how would that shape your day, life, or feeling, or self care?
Every woman gets to go out and find what baseline feels amazing and makes them feel like a goddess or a queen every day. And if this is one thing, Miralina, that you can apply to your body, that every single morning you're like, this is a gift to me, this is a gift to my skin, this is a gift to make me feel amazing and my skin feel so smooth and supple, like, why wouldn't you gift yourself that? Go ahead.
Yeah, and so you're talking about like every woman deserves, and I think men too, right? Because like men
Absolutely.
talk about cheaping out on yourselves. Every
Absolutely.
man I have ever known refuses to spend money on a lot of times clothing and a lot of
Mhm,
times skincare or taking care
mhm,
of themselves. And another place where I see this show up, right? Like you're like everybody deserves to treat themselves to the things that make them feel like they are their best self.
mhm,
And why on earth wouldn't we do that? And
mhm.
that's the question I think we get to ask that can help us dig down to like our barriers to joy. So, this applies to everything from skincare to fancy soap, right? Like the bougie
Mm,
soap, like that doesn't dry your skin out, to buying really high quality groceries instead of the cheap processed stuff that's fillers, right? Why do we tell ourselves that no, oh no, that's too much for me? A lot of times
mhm.
I think there is a very real and practical financial element to this for people in the world and especially in the United States right now.
Yeah.
Inflation is going crazy. People
Mhm,
are struggling. Groceries have almost doubled in the past couple of years. And so yeah, I want to not spiritually bypass the very real
Absolutely.
financial aspect. For me, there are a few factors that really go into my decision to give myself the good shit, to give myself the
Hmm.
good, to buy the good stuff. Number one, I am prioritizing. I am making a really conscious choice to spend the money on this and not going out to eat. I'm
Hmm.
making a very conscious choice to buy this good shit, but that means I don't get to buy the other good stuff. So there was an instrument that I wanted to buy. And I realized after I bought this stuff that now I don't get to buy the instrument probably. And so, because the instrument was a few $100. And now my budget for that is gone. So I made a really clear choice about what was more important to me. Number two, it is also rooted in getting really clear with what my capabilities are and what is realistic for me and doing what feels good within my capability. So this skincare for all of it, right, was a couple $100.
Hmm.
And that is a lot for me right now. And I would not have bought a skincare regimen that was $500. I wouldn't have done that because that would be outside of what would be comfortable for me. Now, don't get me wrong, $200 is pushing my edges. And it also didn't put me in financial hardship. It did not make it difficult on my family to do
Hmm.
this. So there is an element of being practical and being realistic, especially when there are very real financial considerations. And it's also about choosing myself enough to be like, you know what? No, we don't get to buy this other extra thing because I need to buy myself some really good skincare. My skin is struggling.
Hmm.
And my husband was like, yeah, get it. He's like, I know you've been really struggling with this for a while. And so in our relationships, if our finances are blended with other people, we get to have discussions where we get to ask for what we need. We get to ask for
I like that. Ask for what you need. I like that a lot. And it is, I think that when we can, you've hit a lot of things here. Um, Groceries, fueling your body, what you put in and on your body makes a huge difference for your mental health. It fuels instead of takes away. Toxins, if you get a higher end anything, higher end skincare, it's not going to have the chemicals and the toxins in it that cheap, that just it's just full of shit. And
caveat,
so
caveat, even really expensive shit can be a chemical shit
we
store. So
absolutely we get to look.
research your skincare.
Absolutely. You get to look at your skincare. We could put like there is like seriously 160 to 300 chemicals in women's skincare. We normally put at least that many on our skin and on our body before we walk out the front door in the morning to go to work. And so we get to choose into that because we're here showcasing different ways to support your mental health, supporting your emotions, living a joyful life, getting in alignment with who you want to be, who you want to feel, and your beingness. And your beingness really does matter with what you put on your skin. So it's baseline, it's foundation, it is touching your adrenals. Your skin is your largest organ of your entire body. It is how our body detoxes the most, right? It is just foundational to take care of our skin.
Also the food
Yeah.
piece,
Oh
right?
my gosh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure where you're going is the like, where choose your expensive.
Mhm.
Do you want to choose your expensive and giving yourself the good stuff when it comes to food, when it comes to self-care, or do you want to, spend your money on all the medical bills that come later?
But seriously, you can choose. And then, yes, you get to budget what you want to create for your family, for your life, for your health, and just don't do the other stuff that also costs a lot of money that is not helping your family. It
And
is a choice.
I think also too, sometimes I just want to acknowledge sometimes that choice sucks.
It does.
Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it
Hmm.
sucks to go, oh, I cannot go eat out at a restaurant, which for me, the more I decide to love myself with what I'm putting in and on my body, the more I find that I don't really care that I don't get to go out and eat at the
Mhm.
restaurant because I feel like crap when I eat in restaurants most of the time now, unless
Mhm.
they're really clean, like
Yep,
ingredient places. But
exactly.
I want to pick your brain a little bit. What is the story that you tell yourself? Like, what does the roommate in your head say when you are not giving yourself the good stuff?
My roommate talks about, I go to I'm not worthy of.
Mm,
And if I do not give myself time, if I do not give myself space in between different things, if I do not give myself quality food, like today, I was running until we were here and I did not eat enough protein today. So when I do that, I'm like, Shannon, what was put in front of you that was more important than you are? And then how are you showing up to the world, right? I was not showing up kindly. Let me just be honest right now. I was very short tempered if my blood sugar is a little low. Um, no, it always goes to worth. Like, and I feel like everybody gets to do that. Like we get to prioritize ourselves, our self-care, um our space, our energy, our vitality. It is our choice. And honestly, friends, like this is a practice. It is a practice every single day. I am not perfect by any means, but 12 years ago, when I was 12 years younger, I was significantly more unhealthy than I
mm,
am now.
yeah.
And it is just so imperative and so in my face when I look at 10 years ago in pictures or 12 years ago or 5 years ago. And I'm just like, holy cow. Like we're talking about skin. Like I can't even tell you. Like I used to have like this like dark patch, like just different things were coming and it was all gut health, right?
Mm,
And so it's just literally it's your health span. I prioritize it more now than I did
yeah.
way when I was younger, obviously. But
So I want to come back around to something you just said. And you were talking about when you don't give yourself time. And so I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about what it means to give ourselves the good stuff when it comes to the concept of giving ourselves the best of ourselves. What
mm,
does that mean? I mean, I can tell you for me, very often, I don't give myself the best hours of my day where I am overworking. I'm giving the best of my energy to other people. I'm giving the best of my time to other people. And then I find myself burned out,
mhm,
tired, no time to do my laundry, no time to cook myself healthy food, like you were saying,
mhm,
or no time to read a book and relax or oh my God, this was a huge one for me. Moms, raise your hand. You know, like aunties, raise your hand. Women entrepreneurs, raise your hand. People who work in high powered jobs or work for other people, raise your hand because I think this is universal. How many of us don't have time to just rest or enjoy ourselves?
in
You know?
silence and be with ourselves, it's a huge deal. There's constant traffic going on everywhere. I talk about the highway in our brain, like the women are so men are the same, but women have 60,000, probably more like 80,000 thoughts in a day. Of all the things we didn't get done, all the things we have to do, we get to do, all of the kids' stuff, all of the work stuff, and we do not give space in between. And something that I have worked on in this last year is really adding time into my day. Today, again, not perfect, but I literally, if I have appointments for an hour, I will block out an hour or at least 15 minutes. But
Yes.
I block out 2 hour chunks of period twice a week for me to be by
Yeah.
myself in meditation, or I might go do some self-care. I might get a massage. I might go to a sauna. I might go for a freaking walk. I might just sit and listen to music and not have anything else in my ears and just run around my house and do some stuff
Yeah.
because it's like time to do my own thing, right? Not
Yeah.
business, not work, not for somebody else. But I'm like, I feel like if I can get one thing done in my household, I'm succeeding. So, friends, if I get my dishes done, I'm like, yes.
right?
If I can get the paperwork off of my kitchen table or my island, that is a freaking win. And so those people that are growing a business in an entrepreneurship feel like they have ADHD, like nobody's business all of a sudden in the last 10 years, maybe even 5 years. I feel you. If you have piles, do one pile at a time, but like literally give yourself space. If you have back-to-back appointments, you will not be good at anybody else if you continue to do that all day long. Like,
One of
yes,
the
do it for a period of time and then
yeah,
block out an hour.
one of the greatest gifts I gave myself, and a lot of people can't do this because they work for other people, right?
Hmm.
But for me, as somebody who works with people one-on-one and I make my schedule, I started giving myself the gift of 30 to 45 minutes in between clients
In between.
to
Hmm.
get them out of the door, give me time to go stand outside. Like I'm giving myself time in my schedule. And one of the things I do now too is I will intentionally schedule clients with a big gap so that I can have an hour-long lunch because I was
Hmm.
cramming people in left and right. And boy, does that rob me of my joy to have my
Absolutely.
schedule so packed that I don't have the time to just take a bath. And I also decided I'm no longer working before certain hours. And that is a daily practice because I crammed somebody in at 9:30 a.m. this morning.
I mean,
It
it
was,
happens. It happens. And
right?
once in
And
a
so,
while, it's okay, but you get to create your calendar. Calendar control is massive. What if it's your day off? Don't put everything
well, I
into
do
your day
that.
off.
Oh, I do
Like
that.
it is so empowering if you can piece it up. Live a life of joy is not burnout.
Mm-mm.
Living in burnout is not living a life of joy. It's not working on the tools that we know exist for other people that we're sharing. We get to use them as well. And I know if you're watching this, you're like, I have all these tools. You're right. Exactly. Like we have all these tools. And I get to remind myself a lot. But are you using them, Shannon? When was the
Ooh.
last time you used your tools, Shannon? Oh, I forgot that I used to do that.
My
Shannon.
husband looked at me the other day when I was like, my schedule was busy and I had crammed like yet another client into my day. And I was like, man, and it was my day off. And I
Mm,
decided to go in on my day off and see this one client. And I was like, man, I really kind of wish I hadn't have done it. And my husband looked at me and he's like, there are these really handy things called boundaries. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. And I was just like,
I,
F you, bro. F you, bro. F
I
you.
hear you.
Get rocks, right? But like, I mean, also too, taking it in another direction of us not giving ourselves the good stuff. How often do we not let ourselves use the good shit that we teach other people about the tools?
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
Right? Like I never shut up about boundaries. I never shut up about empowerment. Hey, their discomfort is not my problem. Yeah, but my client's discomfort was my problem, so I crammed them into my schedule.
Hmm. And that's
It's
almost
like,
like a people pleasing
oh, it's such
situation.
a people pleasing thing, but it also
I'm
has to
gonna
do with worth, right? Like my
neutral
worth.
neutrality here, no judgment because I did the same thing. I'm
But
like,
even
we
like
get.
saying yes to friends to go have
Mhm,
coffee and not being able to say no to that because like it's complicated. I'm like, well, I want a social life and I also like don't
mhm,
want them to think I'm blowing them off, whatever. But at the same time, like, yeah, no, like I'm sorry. Nope, I'm just not gonna be able to do that. And people tend to be really understanding when I use those handy dandy boundaries. But like how often do I deny myself the good shit when it comes to the tools of saying no, of having boundaries, of asking for what I need?
mhm.
So I think coming to a close with this
And those are
episode.
free. I'm just
Oh, those are free. They are free. They're so free,
see.
but coming to a close with this episode, what is your biggest barrier to giving yourself the good shit, and what is your favorite tool to jump that hurdle?
Mm.
Structure.
My
No.
biggest barrier is, oh my Lanta, my biggest barrier is to talk to myself in the mirror like I talk to everybody else, like to really listen to what I share. Because I think it is so much easier to tell and share and invite somebody else to take control and use these tools than it is to look somebody myself in the mirror, in my experience, and to do all of the things. And so literally reciprocate everything that I share here, everything that I share everywhere else. My biggest tool to do, give myself the good stuff is to start my day giving myself the good stuff. Like if I skip it in the morning, like right away, then my day probably will not progress the way it normally does. And
I feel
does that hurt? Does that
I
sting a
feel
little?
attacked.
No
That's
attacking. Neutral. Neutral. No, seriously, white flag. I literally make myself mud water. I go to my next step. I go to work and I start my day, and then I sit outside in the sun for 10 minutes in my own space in silence and listen to my environment. And then I start my day.
I do feel attacked
I
because
mean,
I have not been giving myself the good stuff first thing in the morning for honestly a couple months now.
mm,
And there are a lot of reasons for that, and I'm finding my way back into it, but boy, that one really that slaps,
that's it.
like round as the young folks say, that slaps.
Yeah, my
Um,
kid would say that.
yeah, but I I'm gonna second this one. I think
Mm,
I think for me, this is a tool I want to use more. And my biggest hurdle to giving myself the good stuff is putting the needs of other people before my own.
mm,
Wanting to help everybody,
mhm,
wanting to make sure everybody knows that they matter. I mean, it's kind of a form of people pleasing, but it's also about there's like this rescuing element
mhm,
to it of me wanting to rescue people from the discomfort of having to wait 2.5 weeks to book with me because they didn't call sooner, or,
mm,
or wanting to save people from the discomfort of me saying no to the invitation to come to their event. I think my biggest tool for jumping that hurdle is just to simply remember that their discomfort is not my responsibility and that I don't have to apologize for doing what's right for me. And I think I'm gonna take this starting my day with the good stuff thing to heart because
mm,
I needed to hear that. And I think so many of us jump out of bed and begin responding to emails and texts, or we jump out of bed and we feed, our kids or our family, and we don't take the first part of our day. I'm getting emotional. Like I'm on the verge of tears right now because I haven't been giving myself the good stuff of presence with myself. Like, because I have this beautiful prayer and meditation room, and it's been a junk room for 2 months because I haven't been sitting down and starting my day with connecting to what's important to me. And so I feel like that's a great place to wrap up this episode before
mm.
I burst into tears.
And
And
it's
I
okay if you burst into tears too. It is beautiful. And it is a great reminder. And I'm sure so many of you that are watching and listening to this episode are like, yeah, I haven't taken I haven't done this. Maybe it is getting up 10 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour earlier in the morning so that you do have that space.
or
Creating
letting your
space,
kids feed themselves.
yeah, get it prepared and give them what they need to, like, maybe the
Yeah.
bowl's too high or something, but maybe that gives them some independence. Maybe they don't need you to create it for them.
Ah,
And
that.
it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody gets to start their day in their own little space. And so that might be a good thing too. And let us know what you think in the comments. Like, seriously, what does this mean for you to give yourself the good stuff? Because in my experience, when you do give yourself the good stuff, it feels damn good
It
and it
really
creates
does.
joy.
And it shifts how I show up in the world. I think that's
It
the other
does.
big thing too. It
It
shifts.
does. It does. It shifts
Yeah,
our light, our energy, our beingness, the way we show up in every facet. How you do one thing, friends,
it's how you do
is how
everything.
you do everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, with that, we'll see you next
We'll see
time.
you next week, friends.
Like, share, and subscribe. And let us
Absolutely.
know. Let us know where you're at. See you next time.
Talk to you soon.